Oh, you know what? How do
I like
you,
this new format for the new
so now
listings a
it'll be
lot
that way.
because we get to see a little bit more about the listing as opposed to just scrolling through them. So thank you again, Chuck. Thank you again, Lisa. That was great. And if you have a spectacular listing, you know, that you'd like to be showcased this morning on our Monday morning call, please, you know, shoot us over the information. We're going to do something a little bit different. I'd like to introduce our new agents that have joined us. And here we go. We have Mike Manzella from Hamburg, John Green,
Oh, yep.
Greece,
We're down there.
Vanessa Johnson from Lancaster, Randy Sheen from Penfield, Hillary Weir from Amherst, Zoe Sherman from Lewiston, and Tahir Bhatti from our Crossroads office, and the rest of the agents on the right side of the screen that joined us in the last month. So welcome to all of you, and best of luck in your career, whether you're new or an experienced agent joining us. We wish you all the best at Howard Hanna Real Estate. Good morning to everyone. We're very excited that we have kind of a new idea that we mentioned at our last meeting, and that is to showcase one of our offices every week. And with this winter wonderland that we're in right now, we thought it would be a great idea to have our Ellicottville office showcased. So we have Sandy Good, who's the manager there, who's going to jump on and share a little bit of information about Ellicottville. Hey, Sandy.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I have Holly Whitcomb with me too from the office. She's helping me do video, and hopefully this will turn out okay. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect morning for this because we have new snow. The temperature's not too bad. The wind's not blowing. But we wanted to film out in front of our ski tree that is, I think they're trying to get into the World Book of the Guinness Book there. So I thought this would be a good place to showcase Ellicottville. And Holly can pan. You can see our Hollymont ski slopes from here as well. I don't know, it's a little bit hazy this morning, but we do have a beautiful ski morning here in Ellicottville. So I'm not quite sure how this is going to work, if you're going to ask me questions or if I am just going to go down through kind of what our market is like here.
Just go for it, Sandy.
Let's go for it. Okay. So Ellicottville, right now, our average list and sale price kind of in Ellicottville, town and village, you know, all around is right around $450. And, you know, about 2019, we were below that, right around $350 to $385. So you can see the market's changed, probably about a 30% increase in value. Some of the lowest home prices are around 200,000, and they go well up over $1 million in some of the ski resort areas. And we do have the 2 ski resorts, Holiday Valley and Hollymont. And then just in Cattaraugus County alone, probably our average price right now in the market is about 182. Again, that's about a 30% increase over 2019. Our condos have seen the biggest increase of about 50% in value. About in 2019, you could buy a wildflower unit for around 70 to 80,000, and today they're going for well over 140,000. So you can see the market change. Right now, things have stabilized, and we need listings, but the market itself seems to have been stabilized a little bit from what we've seen the past 2 years. And yeah, things are good here.
Great. Sandy, a quick question. Do you still have a lot of Canadian investors that are purchasing in your market?
We do. We do. even the pandemic, through that, we didn't see, you know, a lot of home sales from the Canadians. We thought we would see that, but we really didn't. And you can see the condos, the sales in 2019, there were about 70 sales that year. And again, last year, there were about 70. So same amount. I will say that Ellicottville is known for the resort town. We're a 4-season now with hiking and biking, golfing and swimming in the summer. And Ellicottville shows the statistics that Ellicottville is probably 60% owned by vacation home owners. So 40 full-time residents, 60 vacation. But that's typically, you know, Ellicottville and maybe 3 to 5 miles out.
Great. Great. Thank you. Anything else you want to share?
I do want to share that Ellicottville is known for its bars and restaurants. We have 17 bars and restaurants within a mile of each other, starting at Holiday Valley and going through town and out 219. And so their slogan that we've been known for a long time is that we're a drinking town with a skiing problem.
That's good.
Very nice.
We'll end with that. And I hope everybody enjoyed Ellicottville. If we can just get one more shot, maybe Holly and I can walk down to the sidewalk and kind of show you what the downtown area does look like. On a Monday morning, you're not going to see a lot of cars. A lot of the restaurants and stuff are closed, but we're busy here all week long, and on the weekends, of course, we're open 7 days a week at Howard Hanna Ellicottville office. So if you're in town, stop in and say hi.
Great. Thank you, Sandy. So great for you to share a little bit about Ellicottville this week. And each week, we're going to showcase a different area with the, you know, the goal that you all will have the opportunity to get to know the market, you know, throughout Western New York a little bit better, get to know who our managers are. And I think that was a great spotlight. Thank you so much. We have our entire leadership team with us here this morning, including Kathy Bianchi. And of course, we're going to hear from Lou and Matt this morning, as well as Ken. So welcome to all of you. But before we turn it over to them, I'd like to just say congratulations to Sue Chaskis. She was our Realtor Associate of the Year Friday night at the Buffalo installation. So congratulations, Sue Chaskis, on that very, very nice recognition and award for all of your community service and involvement with the Association of Realtors. I'm going to hold off giving my market update until next week because I know that Matt and Lou have so much good information to share with us. So I'll turn it over to the two of you right now. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Just want to start out by saying that, you know, Matthew and I thought that we would talk a little bit today about what we're seeing and what we're hearing, you know, in the market. You know, again, market shifts, you know, national numbers versus regional numbers. Some accountability versus motivation, things of that nature. The one thing I do want to get started with, though, is, and I know Matthew and I have talked about it, is, you know, Helen puts out her Monday morning minutes, and, you know, this last week really kind of spoke to us about, you know, what's going on, and are we secret, you know, the secret shoppers that are out there. I thought that was a good, you know, article. Every week she's got something really good to say that could be used. Matthew?
I think that the goal of that is to always assume that someone's watching. You know, I used to do training and ask the agents, you know, if you went home and knew that your interactions with your family were going to be filmed, would you act differently? And a lot of times people say yes. Well, it's like, well, okay, well, if they deserve the best of you, why would you act differently? Are you doing that with your clients and customers? Are you more comfortable so you act differently? Think about the way that you are presenting yourself, the way that you are having conversations with your clients and customers. Where are you doing it? You know, are you going to Tim Hortons and sitting there, or are you taking them into the office and making sure that you have good consultations and making sure that you're guiding them well through the process? And I think it's a good reminder to everybody pretend someone's watching. And as Helen said in it, it's kind of that old Mary Kay thing, pretend every person has a sign over their head that says, make me feel important. So I think it's a nice reminder for us as we go into this year.
Yeah, and having good customer service skills, I think, is really what, that I took out of that, as far as understanding who your customer is, how do you want to treat them? I mean, those numbers keep on coming back, and she did share some, in that 13% of clients that don't return to their original agent. I mean, says a lot to, are you, touching base with your clients? I mean, are you top of mind with your clients? And I think, that's something that is still kicking around out there.
And the hardest part with that is that, statistically, people move about every 11 years. And so we try so hard to be relationship based in a structure that's very transactional. And so what I think everybody should look at this year is, okay, so I meet somebody, I help them, I start guiding them, we get to a closing. Now, what is my system to kind of be their real estate resource for anything real estate related for the next couple of years, so that I'm always giving them guidance. I'm always, seen as the expert, and they know that they have somebody that can help them. I think we get so focused on, I need to get this transaction done, rather than I need to serve people to the highest level as a professional real estate agent and show them that there's more than just closing a transaction. I have a lot more value than that. So I think that that's one of the mindsets we want to have this year as we're going into 2023, and everyone's talking about the market changing and how that's going to move.
Yeah, and I know, Matthew, when we chat a little bit about that, the market shift and what that looked like in the end of the year versus, how we kick off the beginning of the year with that. And I know that there's a lot of national numbers, but we all know, and we've talked about it, you and I, about our local numbers and what that looks like.
It's, a good point, Lou, because Lou and I were talking about, we're seeing these reports about it's going to be a buyer's market, or it's going to be a flat market, or it's still a seller's market. And people kind of say, well, which is it? So the first thing I think that we need to understand as practitioners is that there are always multiple markets. We need to understand what we're talking about. There's the national market, there's a regional market, there's the local market, there's your market, there's your street, your goals, your house. Like, I think that when we hear these big overarching, the market's this, we freak out and we start getting people confused. And I think that we need to do a good job of translating, what does it mean? The other thing that we're seeing is that most people don't know how to define the market. And if you look historically, 0 to 5 months supply of inventory was a seller's market. 5 to 6 months supply was a balanced market, and anything over 6 months supply was a buyer's market. So that's historically the way that you would describe it. Now, I don't know if we're going to get to the 6 months as a balanced market thing again. What we might see is that a balanced market feels more like 3 months supply. It doesn't mean that it is balanced, but it's feeling a lot more, because for the last 2.5 years, we have just been on kind of a super fast pace. So I think that those are conversations to have with our clients and customers, is that I know that it feels a little bit different than it did, but it doesn't mean that it's balanced. I think it's important that you guys know those differences and what that means.
And as we talked, Matthew, about the mindset of an agent and what that looks like. And I know one of the Inman articles that we were talking about, there was a gentleman in there that was talking about the fact that, that 80-20% rule now looks like 90-10, and with the changing market, and a lack of inventory, who's digging harder out there, and we talked a little bit about that.
I think also with that, no matter what's happening in the marketplace, the right agent with the right strategy that takes their time and guides people is going to benefit no matter what the market is doing. And that's historical. We've been through so many different types of markets, and we've seen them up and down. And what happens is that the person that takes their time to have a strategy and implement it well and know why they're doing it, they're going to benefit. And what happens is that people keep trying to time the market. They try to beat the market. They try to take advantage of the market. And what you have to do is work with the market and understand how it's moving and how you're able to kind of say, hey, so like if Lou comes to me and says, hey, this is my goal, great. This is what the market's doing. So in order to get that goal, we have to act this way. But if the market was this, we have to act this way. So we have to have a really, really strong consultation. And I think in the last 2 years, we have gotten away from sitting down face to face and consulting. And it's just been kind of oh, throw in an offer. I got to get these done. And it's been so fast paced. It's our responsibility to slow people down and say, hold on. We're consultants. It's our job to give you some good guidance. Now, if we want to go get crazy while we get out, they're great. But let's talk about strategy. Let's talk about the potential repercussions and go from there. So I think those things are kind of what we're seeing, is that a lot of people, to your point, Lou, that Pareto principle, that 80-20 rule, more people are kind of sitting, just waiting for other people to take action. So this is the time for you to kind of have a plan how you're going to take action and be part of that 10% that's moving the needle.
Yeah, and looking at that, we also talked a little bit about focusing a little bit different on this year in your goals, looking more toward the units, in the industry than the volume. I mean, because again, the price structure and the changing and the averages and what that looks like. And we all know that if you look at one unit, that's going to turn into two, and 2 units going to turn into 4, and I know that you and I had a good discussion on that.
Because volume is the vanity number. So you look at our marketplace and you look at what's happened. Lou's absolutely right. We have a lot of people that they're focused on volume, so they say, well, I've been a $5 million producer consistently, and what we know about the market is that the average sale price has gone up substantially. So you may have done the same amount of volume and you've lost clients and customers. And so what's happened is that we got so fast paced in the reaction of the marketplace that we didn't realize that we need to be proactively helping more families, helping more clients and customers, reaching out our spheres so that we can really impact more people. The goal is, how many families can we serve? Not, can I get to this volume? That's a number that just takes care of itself, because we don't have a lot of control over it unless you stay, I'm in a marketplace that has an average sale price of 150,000. I know next door in that marketplace, it's 200,000. So I'm going to start penetrating that area. I'm going to start, getting to know people there. I'm going to join some boards and organizations. So you can slowly impact your average sale price those ways. But in essence, focus on units, focus on how many families you can help, and get out there and make a lot of contacts. You can't just be a secret agent. You got to get out there and get to know people.
Yeah, that secret agent thing that we talked about, Matthew, that other article that I brought to your attention, that motivation, versus what was it? Motivation versus accountability. You know what I mean? And I know that we talked a little bit about being accountable to yourself as an agent, your client, your brand and what you're bringing versus, what motivates you. And we had some good discussions on that as well.
Yeah, a lot of times, as we discussed, people think accountability is a bad thing. And there's the joke, like, everybody wants accountability until they get it. So it's like, well, hold me accountable. And then you say, Matt, how come you didn't do that? I say, get off my back, it's basically,
right.
But
right.
I think that it's really, really important that you shift, that our agents shift their idea of what accountability means. And so it's like, if I say I'm going to do something, I should do it. That's holding myself accountable to the things that I said I was going to do. And as we look at the marketplace and we look at what they're saying is going to happen, I need to hold myself accountable to having a good flow to my transactions. I need to hold myself accountable to making sure that I have the best relationship with my mortgage consultant at first priority possible. I need to make sure that I have a good structure of how I do things, that I'm using the right tools and resources, and that I don't just let another year go by where I say, I'll look into that, and then you don't, So I think that that's really, really important. And to the motivation point, like you said, a lot of people wait for somebody else to motivate them. But from a scientific standpoint, motivation is internally driven, not exterior driven. You can be inspired by people. You can see something and say, wow, that makes me want to go do something. But that's more inspiration. Motivation has to be internally driven for you to understand that this makes me want to go do that. That comes internally, not externally. So a lot of times we wait for somebody to motivate us. Yeah. You gotta hold yourself accountable to motivate yourself to get out there, get moving, and do the things you need to do to change your circumstances. And I think that that's really, really important.
Yeah, I do too. And I think that some of the talking points that we had today that we've been talking about, Matthew, is kind of just sharing, that our experience, throughout the years, as far as, what works and what doesn't. And we also talk about, just getting to the basic things of being a business owner, right? Running your business, owning it, understanding what you're accountable for and accountable to. So I think, a lot of stuff that, we're trying to throw out there, and all these different articles that we, grab on and see and look at. I mean, anything that we have, we're always available to share any of our thoughts with you guys. So, I think we've got Ken Winowski up next, don't we?
Before we throw it to Ken, Lou, because I do want to just share one thing that Lou and I got in the beginning of, well, kind of the end of the year, beginning of the year, was this Swanepoel report. And what we, the Hannah send that out to the executives and we see that. And what it is this Team 360, they go through all this data and they look at our industry and they look on a national level and talk about trends and what's happening and why it's happening. And one thing that I think is constantly being said and constantly being shown is that in order to be successful, there's this goal towards one-stop shopping. Most companies are trying to provide ancillary service package that makes sense. And what's interesting is that a lot of agents say, well, I have an MC or I have a relationship with an MC. That's not really the goal. The goal is the partnership, the one-stop shopping in-house to say, look, I have this person right here. I got this guy with me. I got this girl with me. Here's our partnership. Here's our relationship. And here's the value to you, Mr. and Mrs. Customer. That's one of the things that I think is misunderstood is that, oh, well, I can just give them an MC. All the stats, all the research shows that it's about the one-stop shop. It's the in-house partnership that really sets you up. So I would say to all of you, if you don't have a strong first priority relationship, please see us to get one, because I don't think that there's any other value that's stronger than saying, hey, I got someone to help you with that. I got a person for that. I got support for that. And it's imperative to figure out, if you're talking about buying the largest financial decision, we got people for that. And so what a powerful thing to have that relationship. And so with that, we will pass off our relationship to our brother Ken there, who's got a good shirt style today.
Yeah, I didn't get the memo, boys. I didn't get the memo.
Yeah, well, you got it in your suit coat. I'll accept it.
All right, I don't want to feel left out.
Matt and I are not in a barbershop quartet and we don't have practice later, but it's a very nice shirt you have on. This is pretty amazing that what I provided as a slide for Lisa, just my talking points today, kind of ties into everything you guys are talking about and ties in perfectly to what Sandy was talking about. And I wanted to, I look at so many different PowerPoints from different economic analysis from the beginning of the year. And I wanted to share this one. And of course, this is national, but I say, if you would lay your own region down to this, it's that during inflation, prices really never go back to where, they started. I mean, I think gas was, when I was in high school, was 60 cents a gallon. It got up to $1 when I was in college because I used to get 10 miles to the gallon and I would put $5 in, and my college was 50 miles away. So I haven't seen gas back at 60, 70 cents. And if you look at home prices, they always recover and go higher. And everybody knows David Stevens. He's a very large name in the industry. He's been with HUD and I believe Fannie Mae, et cetera. But if we look at the only linear times, or the times where the real estate prices have dropped, was in the recession of 7, 8, and 9. And that was a significant downturn. But then if we look at it, the only other times, aside from increasing, it becomes linear. So my point is, I just despise when people say, I'm going to wait. And I don't know why people, and maybe they say that because they don't understand, what we do. But the sooner you can get out of your rent and the sooner you can get out of your parents' basement is the time that you should buy a home, because you are building wealth. Okay. You're paying principal and interest. So you're building wealth. Different if you're a home seller that's moving up. You get that a lot. I'm going to wait. Where would I go? And a lot of people have shared with me, well, they still have a 2.5% or 3% rate. I think if your house is worth $200,000 more than what you really thought it was 2 years ago, I don't really think people care about what current rate they have if their lifestyle is going to change. So anybody that thinks they're going to wait, and if we go into a bit of a downturn or a recession, we may see home prices be more linear. But most of the prognosticators that we've seen for this year are saying, 5, 6% and a steady increase. We still have a lack of supply. So fight the myth of I want to wait, because in 10 years, Sandy's going to be standing in Ellicottville saying our average sale price is 650,000 versus the 400 it was today. And we can see that by this trend in this chart. And this chart goes back to 1960 or 1960. And it considers the 8 recessions in between. So fight the myth. Why should I wait? You know, or I think it's better to wait. We can help you. And as Matt's shared, with the partnership with First Priority, we work together with the agents to make sure that people are making sound decisions on their decision to purchase a home. That's my message for today. I'm going to send it back to Charlene.
Thanks for that. Wow, that was a lot of really good information. Thank you so much. Interesting about Lou and Matt. Thank you, gentlemen, for all that good information. But, you know, Matt made a point about serving your clients and customers and, you know, kind of following up after the transaction. It's a great time to do that. And Lou made a point and he said, you know, who's digging harder? Those are, you know, excellent points. And I do have to say, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that the Bengals did dig a little bit harder yesterday during that Bills game, which was a huge disappointment to many of us. But thank you to the Buffalo Bills for a great season. We certainly did have a lot of fun. But jumping over to our education update, as you can see, there's a lot of basic classes that are going on in both Rochester and Buffalo. This week we have, you know, today and Wednesday, and then next Monday, graduation, going over listing contract. On Wednesday, the purchase offer and addendums, first priority mortgage. So if you want to get back to basics and you really want to sit in on a class, I mean, you're always welcome to jump in on anything. And I know next Friday on the 27th, we have training on business planning and marketing. So you may want to jump on, you know, some of those classes. I think that's all excellent. Now, speaking about statistics too, I just want to end by saying, and Lou and Matt spoke to this, there's data all over the place, but I was on realtor.com and they have the entire country listed there in terms of what their predictions are for each market. And I went in and I pulled up Buffalo and I pulled up Rochester. And the exciting news is that according to realtor.com predictions in both Buffalo and Rochester, they are predicting that we will both have significant sales growth in 2023. And that's a lot of opportunity for all of you. So go back to the talking points that Lou and Matt reviewed and step back and take a look at what can you do to, you know, approach the market with the proper mindset and serving your clients and customers as best as you possibly can. I believe that's a wrap. Thank you to all of our speakers today. Thank you to Sandy for that great office spotlight. Next week, I believe we're going to be looking at the Webster office and we're going to go back and forth between Buffalo and Rochester on future calls. So have a great week, everyone, and take care.
Have a great week, everyone.
Bye, guys.
You know,
Cheers.